Welcome to Logan EV's Scout Room. We're going to be doing something a little different today. This is something I've wanted to try for a while. We're going to be doing a film breakdown of the New Zealand Breakers versus Melbourne United game that happened over in Australia this last Sunday, the 21st. I'm now recording this on the 25th. I'd like to get it out today, hopefully, but obviously I have school and stuff. But I just chopped up the game, the clips I liked from it from the two prospects, Karim Lopez and Dash Daniels, to highlight kind of what I thought of their games. I wanted to talk about it. I thought this was a fascinating game for a 30-point blowout. Just some background on the two guys, if you don't know. Karim Lopez is someone who I think at this point is like a consensus top 10 pick, probably the best international player in this 2007 generation. Is the best Mexican prospect of all time, which I think is fair to say. I think Jaime Jaquez would have somewhat of an argument for that. But as an 18-year-old, Jaime was coming out of Camarillo High School, which is, from my local 805 area. Went to UCLA as like a relatively unranked recruit, or just a local get who what coach was it at the time? I don't even remember. Whereas Karim was the best player in Mexico, was playing with the national team as a 16-year-old, like the senior national team, moved over to Spain to play for Juventus Academy, in which he was always very good in ANGT stuff, and then last year moved to the Next Stars program to play for the Breakers, and was generally productive. I thought he had a really good year for someone who was 17 for about half the year. Defense was encouraging. I thought the awareness was a lot better than we're going to see in this game, which is something I think is generally alarming, but obviously this is the first game of the year. I don't think it's super concerning. His offensive game is a work in progress, just in the fact that he was 17 and isn't a knockdown shooter, but there was some real creation upside. I think is like a secondary creator in the NBA. There's some real fluidity he moves with. He's very athletic. I think he's in for a big year. I currently have him ranked 6th or 7th on my big board, outside of that consensus top 5 group of DeBonza, Peterson, Boozer, Ament, and Mikael Brown. I think Kareem's that next guy for me. It's either him or Caleb Wilson. I think he's a really ready-made role player. For me, two names that stand out as potential upside swings are both of OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges. He kind of fits the mold of a third option wing who can come in and really defend. I like him quite a bit. I think today you're going to see some defensive issues from him. I think they improved through the second half. That's something we'll talk about. But I think overall, I think this game on this tape, it's not a blemish by any means. I think in a 30-point loss, there's only so much you can show. Whereas Dash Daniels, he comes off the bench for this United team. Just as I think he's 18, I think very recently turned 18, has been a big name in Australia for a while, obviously as the younger brother of Dyson Daniels. The games are very similar. Both are very good defensively. He's really just a Dyson clone. I would argue at Dyson's age, he's a little bit more behind on the offensive end. The handle is, pretty stiff. The left hand is not great. Like if you watch the U17s or U19s actually this summer with Dyson playing with like Jacob Furphy and all those guys, and Roman Sulipa, you could see that the offensive game was really not quite there. I think there were a lot of people who came away from that not encouraged. I even talked to I was talking with an NBA scout and a college coach at an AAU tournament this summer, and we were talking about Dash, and the NBA scout was like, yeah, it's just the U19s or whatever, and the college coach was like, no, he sucks. And like, I totally understand watching that film and being like, no, he's not good. I have him on the fringe of my first round right now, but I think he can end up way higher. I think at worst, like, he's a guy who's just like, okay, he's so young. He's like the second youngest player in this class. He's just a 2027 guy then, and I think then you're looking at him potentially being a first round pick. I thought his game today was very encouraging. I think offensively he showed that he's ready to fill a role and impact the game. And defensively, there was a lot of stuff to like. I think he ended with 2 steals, one of which he instantly turned the ball over, trying to do too much with the handle and transition, so that's not in here. Probably should have clipped that out, but this is the first time doing this. Again, let me know if you'd like to see more of these, but let's jump right into it. First play of the game here. United's in the blue. Dash isn't on the floor right now. He'll be number 4, whereas the Breakers obviously in this like bright blue, which I think are fantastic jerseys. They have wonderful jerseys across the board. Karim Lopez is this guy right here, number 1. Get used to seeing him. He kind of gets lost here on this play, I would argue. And I will say, I think up top at this action, the two guards, or the guard and the wing, really fumble this ball screen. Like, this guy right here, you got to either stick with your man. The Breakers employ kind of like a show and recover scheme. One of these two guys messes this up. Now, what I would argue then is that Karim has to step in here and play this guy more. Even if it's just more of a dig, I would argue he did not do enough. He contributed to that layup being wide open. Kind of a theme you'll see with Karim here is that a lot of the defensive breakdowns do involve teammates messing up, but he doesn't cover for any of the weaknesses in this game. So this is just first play. The first 3 plays here, I want to say, are just going to be him making mistakes on the defensive end. A couple plays later, we're now at 8 minutes in the first quarter. Coming down in semi-transition, going to see the ball screen. Melbourne used this all game. It's why they scored like 113 points. Big man gets totally behind the screen. Like, he's just way too slow here. I thought this breaker's big man, but Joe something, I don't remember his name. It's totally behind the play. Karim's got to step in here. Like, I'm sorry. This is bad. This is, I'd argue, solely on him. You got to make this rotation. You can see him looking back and forth at his guy, like, way too much. I think you just got to know that your guy is there. Maybe look at him once. You can't give up a wide open dunk like this. I'd rather give up a wide open corner 3, let the big man scramble out while he trails through here, make that rotation, step in. You're an NBA athlete at 6'8", with a plus wingspan. Try to block the shot. Like, make something like really special happen. But he doesn't. I think he makes a play like this later in the third quarter, fourth quarter that is a lot more encouraging. But it was rough for him to start this first quarter. Then a couple plays later, I want to say this is the next defensive possession for the Breakers. Yeah, we're now at 7-10 about. He gets clipped on the screen here. This is just a total miscommunication. I think Karim is at fault in that he communicated too late, but I would argue that his teammate is at fault in that he played the action wrong. So you can see him point up, okay, Karim, you're up. They assume this guy's going to curl. It's, to me, very apparent that this is not a curl very early on, which is why I would give more credit to Karim, however you say his name. This guy's got to step up here. But even that, this is now the third time in this quarter you've been involved in defensive action where you've given up a wide open shot. I think this is now a blemish on your record a little bit. Even if, I would argue this one totally isn't your fault. He gets pulled from the game after this. They're now down 6. It's only going to get worse. Now they're already down 7 in this next clip. This is a good defensive play from Dash Daniels, from what I recall. He's going to take away this pass from the corner, scramble out to the wing. That's a good contest. I would even argue this maybe isn't his responsibility to go to this guy. I think you could argue that number 7 here in the Navy needs to step up into this. Dash makes the long rotation. Since this guy's so far above the break, I think that's would optimally be how you play that. Like, I want to say that's what Houston would do. But you can see him take away this pass in the corner. He then shows the hand, takes away the wide open corner pass. That's what you want to see. And then I'm going to get out there myself. I'm going to make something happen. Guy misses. I wouldn't say he contested very well because it's a very long rotation. He does cover ground pretty well. I think this is generally really encouraging. This is kind of stuff he was doing all night. Really good defensive awareness out of Dash. A couple plays later, I want to say 2 possessions after, you're going to see Dash here. He's going to get sagged off as Tyson Walker goes to work in the mid-range. He's not a good shooter right now. Like, that is the real problem with his game, even outside of the handle, outside of the stiffness, in his overall creativity. He just can't really shoot. And when you can't shoot, you can't really get by anybody, no matter how good or bad your handle is, especially in the NBL where you're allowed to hate guys. Like, they really let him play physical here. He gets sagged off. He's going to recognize that. He's going to cut Jesse Edwards, who looked like Tim Duncan the other night in this game. Absolutely was killing people. He's sealing his man. He's going to go get this offensive rebound. He's going to miss the putback. But you can see, like, this is an NBA athlete going up. There's some real fluidity. Gets up with ease. Pogo sticks for his own rebound. Then kickball violation. Ball goes out of bounds. I think that pass wasn't great for what it's worth. But I understand being an 18-year-old thinking you're about to score what would be your first bucket in this NBL season, if I'm not mistaken. And then instantly being like, oh, I messed up. I'm going to not do something stupid. Kind of get it. I don't even think it's a bad pass. I think the only way it gets knocked away is via kickball, which I think by some metrics would be a good pass. Like, I think Chris Paul would have been okay with this. This is a very Chris Paul pass, in a kind of a negative way. Like, we all know the flaws with Chris Paul's game. We love Chris Paul. It's one of my favorite players ever. But not comparing Dash to Chris Paul by any means, but I think this is a really good recognition to know I'm getting sagged off. Let me cut to the open space. Again, misses. It happens. You miss those sometimes. A couple plays later, he's going to be streaking down in transition. Going to get back to that right hand, make the layup. I think this is where his game really popped. There's one more play like this that I didn't clip out just because it was so wide open. He was really running the floor well. Getting to that transition game. Really encouraging out of him using that length. Now we're into the second quarter. Lopez is back into the game. I think this was probably his worst rep all night. I think this is even worse than the rep earlier where he didn't come in from the corner. He was dealing with some back stiffness. He's on a minutes restriction. You can see later in the fourth quarter. I didn't clip this out just because I didn't think it was worthy of showing. I figured I'd just talk about it. He actually asked for a sub a couple plays after having like back-to-back highlight plays, arguably like 2 dunks back-to-back. Clearly, like wasn't moving well. They called a timeout to get him out of the game. Hopefully, he's all right. But he was going to the game with a back issue. I don't think that excuses for how lazy this isolation rep is. Kind of just gets spun around here. Like this for someone who I said your player comp might be Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby. You can't be doing that. I just don't think that's really par for the course. I think like pivot on the foot and get back, dude. Like right when he's about, let me see, pivot and get back, dude. Like you totally got upright. You tried to get the hands up. He's good at having his hands up generally. Like you got to get into his stance a little bit better. But again, if this is something that, when he heals up, the back injury's fine, looks like it's off the tape, I think it's something that we can throw away. And this wasn't on his tape last year, for what it's worth. But I think it is something to note that that's just generally how bad his defensive process was today. About 3 minutes later into the game, Dash gets back in. I think this is his only like real isolation possession of the night. It's not even isolation, it's pick and roll. He's going to get to a little floater here. You can see he protects himself from the dig here from the guy in the corner. Stuff that he was not doing at the U19s, so this is pretty encouraging. Now, 4:20 to go, you're going to see Dash chase this guy off of this little zoom DHO action, and I think he does a really good job of getting his hand up. I think obviously this is an NBA shooter, but this is a lefty going to his left. He looks pretty comfortable. Like they clearly call this play for him. And you can see Dash get clipped on the screen a little bit, but you can see the fluidity, the length, the foot speed. He gets around it pretty well. Hustles for the rebound as well. Really stuff that you like to see. I think defensively the ceiling for this kid is quite high, as whether it's a chaser, a disruptor, on the ball. I think it's all very, very good. Now into the third quarter. You can see Lopez's first half was not great. I didn't think there was anything highlight worthy to clip out from it, whereas I think Dash had a really good first half, and then his second half he just wasn't involved a whole lot in the blowout. You can see the Breakers are already down 22 points. We're a minute in, barely, not even into this third quarter. I totally understand, having a lack of activity and being passive in a game that you're, down by this much, but I think Lopez has to step it up, and I think you can see here in this first rep he's going to. There's going to be another pick and roll action and, semi-transition where his guy gets way behind the play. He's going to step in on this one, and he's going to contest it. Jesse Edwards still finishes. I think Lopez could have came in with a little bit more fire, but this is better than what he did earlier. Obviously, you can see the play down here from, the first quarter. He didn't step in at all. You can see here he does. Makes a contest. Sometimes the guy makes a shot. Now 8:30 to go in the third quarter. I want to say this is the next play down. Breakers get an offensive rebound. Lopez's guy is totally sagging off him. Like, they don't even have a guy on him in the scramble situation. He trails into the play. He's just going to make a catch-and-shoot three. The shot looks really fluid. He gets his base totally squared up. His shot has always looked good. He's just never shot it at truly, elite percentages to be guarded reliably. I generally think that's going to change this year. I think the shot looks good. He just looks more comfortable. It looks a little faster than it did last year. This is stuff I like to see. I think overall today, I want to say he shot 2 for 3 from 3, which again, it's low sample size. Was a blowout, but this isn't the only made 3 you'll see from him today. Now it's 7:10 to go. I don't remember what this play is exactly. Oh yeah, he's going to cut in here. Offensive rebound with one hand. You can see him absolutely move this low guard 51 out of the way. He's incredibly strong. He's very athletic. Going up and getting the ball with one hand is definitely exciting stuff you like to see. I think there's real worlds where he can play the 4 just due to the size. On the defensive end, I think the rim protection could be there. I think the ability to slide on the offensive end, or defensive end, on the perimeter is totally there. This is stuff, just this little impact is stuff that really opens up some positional versatility. Now at 6:33 to go, I think this is a great rep from Dash Daniels for what it's worth. I think Lopez scores on this play, but you can see Dash here in isolation, makes the closeout, quickly squares up, just totally locks this guy up. He's there. He's on that. Lopez floats to the middle of the floor. He's going to float back out to the three-point line. I think they're going to make a skip pass. He's going to attack the closeout. Does a great job at attacking it. Then makes a skip out. Not a ton of time on the shot clock, but I think this guy, number 5's got to get this off a little bit quicker. This is not something that I would blame on Lopez at all. I also think the way he attacks his closeout is fantastic. There's only 3.9 to go. This is 4.2 on broadcast. We'll look at this up here. He's going to hop into this to fake the shot. Gets a really hard closeout, but then fakes going right. Obviously, he's a right-handed player. Then goes left and has a totally wide open lane. Crosses back to take that extra dribble just to make this guy really wide open. He's just got to get it off faster. That's really on him. And then I think I want to watch this Dash defensive rep again. This is a really good rep out of him. You can see it just gets into his stance really well, slides really well. And I'm glad Lopez did end up floating onto the three-point line here, because he sometimes has a habit of sitting in the interior after he cuts. But I think generally this is one of Lopez's best reps throughout the entire game, asserting himself kind of within his role, which is what you want to see out of a guy like that. This next play, I want to say Lopez closes out to this guy. 3 seconds left on the shot clock. He's going to force you to shoot. I think this is a measured closeout. You can clearly see in the matchup, he knows this guy's not going to kill him with the shot. The guy has no intention of going left here. Like, you catch the ball like this, you're not going left. He knows that. He's even weak with this top foot. Like, it seems like he knows the matchup really, really well. He's going to play the shot here. It's going to be a contested 3. He's going to miss it. I think that's a good rep. That's stuff he wasn't doing in the first half. I think then he comes down here. He's switched on to Tyson Walker, who, having seen him in person when he was at Michigan State, I think it's generous to say he's 6 feet tall in socks. It's maybe 6 feet in shoes, maybe 5'10" and a half. I don't remember what his combine measurements were if he was even at the combine a couple years ago. Has a small guy sealed onto him. You can see they cleared out for him. He's going to quickly catch and finish. Again, this is why I think he has potential at the 4, because he can exploit mismatches like this in addition to sliding on the perimeter. Really positionally versatile kid. 5:20 to go. I want to say Lopez is out of the game here. I think this is a dash rep, if I'm not mistaken. No, Lopez is going to make the closeout here to this guy in the wing. Makes the X out well. I think he could have done a little bit faster. I think he should already be running to the wing at this point, but you can see the moment he recognizes, gets to the guy. Semi-contested 3, we're okay with that. He's going to then leak out here. I think an NBA playmaker makes this read, or this pass correctly with a little bit more touch, and there's a free bucket for Lopez, but I think it's good to see him run the floor. On review, they called this off Lopez, which, again, that's not really his fault, but I think generally this is a pretty good rep out of him. Now into the fourth quarter, 8:20 to go. This game is out of hand. It's a 30-point game. Lopez is still in the game. I thought his fourth quarter, this stint of minutes here from about the 8-minute mark to the, I want to say like 6-minute mark when he pulls himself with the back tightness, most likely. This is easily his best stretch of the game, especially on the offensive end. You're going to see some really exciting plays. I think this might even be the highlight play that like made it to Gavoni's Twitter. Yeah, I want to say this is. So he comes in the pick and roll, just torches this guy. Like, this is stuff he wasn't really doing last year. In terms of his creativity and safeness of the handle, we can watch this as many times as we want. Comes off the screen. You can see them sag. Like, they know he's not going to kill him with the shot. He's still going to get into his stuff. Like, oh my God, this is so good. Goes right. You can see the guy is playing the right hand well. Hits him with the long crossover. Like, this guy gets shifted. But he immediately tries to step up into the left. Lopez recognizes, let me get back to my right. And I'm going to get to 2 feet even, and I'm going to dunk it. I like that a lot. Like, if there was a help defender here, the fact that he gets back to 2 feet means I think he could go up to him even a little bit better if the guy was there. But I think he does an overall fantastic job of just this possession in general. This is stuff that wasn't really on his tape last year. To be doing this in game 1 is really exciting. Next play down, I want to say, or 2 plays down, I think this is going to be a catch-and-shoot 3 from Lopez. Oh, no, this is a pick-and-roll play. So it's a fantastic ball screen and just rolls into open space. Again, this is an NBA athlete. I think this is why there's some potential to be at the 4. This is a great screen. Like, you don't really see 18-year-old wings set screens this good. You just watch him connect. He gives him the little hand hug, which is stuff that wings can get away with, especially in the NBA with screening rules there. Guy gets totally clipped on it, way behind the play. This guy's got to step up. I know free reign, and this is Dash Daniels on the back end, who is like an NBA athlete and does have length. Even Dash knows, like, I have no chance here. I just got to let him go. Now 6:18 to go, so I think it's actually the play before I added this out of order. You can see Lopez helps on the seal action off the offensive rebound, steps in instead of the big man. And this is where I think some of the positional versatility comes in, like just blocks the shot on Jesse Edwards, who is one of the best big men in this league. I think this is something that could translate to the NBA. Let's say it's like Jonas Valanciunas or something like that, who's now like 33, 34 years old. If this is Jonas Valanciunas, I don't think this play looks a whole lot different for Lopez, especially as he skills up, gets a little bit older, unlocks more of the processing, potentially some strength and athleticism as well. Like, who knows? I think this is overall fantastic rep from him as well. And then you're going to see him trail here in transition, knows he's open, throws the hand up, which I like. It's very quick, but you can see, like, he knows, hey, I'm trailing the play, I'm here. He's going to step into this, make a kick out to the corner, scramble situation, they make a kick out to the wing, one more pass, wide open 3. I think this guy could have shot this as well. Like, if this is a knockdown NBA shooter, this is just a free bucket out of Lopez, but he attacks that, splits the 2 defenders, and then results in a wide open shot. 5:50 to go. They're going to let Dash Daniels run pick and roll here, and I think this is probably Dash's worst play of the game. Just kind of throws an ill-advised pass to his ceiling, Jesse Edwards. You can see Edwards isn't even like, hey, I'm open. Like, he doesn't really say, I'm open. He kind of throws the hand up, but then the helper comes immediately. The helper's coming before Dash throws the pass. I think this is just generally a bad read. This isn't what I like you to throw. Where should the ball go here? I would argue you should just reset the ball. Just move the action. Look at how stuffed the paint is. Like, they're not guarding you, really. They're not respecting any of the shooters on the floor. I mean, even when you run the pick and roll, look at how condensed the floor is. Like, maybe you can argue make the skip pass, but I don't think his handle is good enough to. This is not what you should be doing. Maybe he looks open. He's not. He's not open. And even the placement on the ball is not great. Now 5:30 to go. Lopez is going to shoot a wide open three here. Pass isn't great, but he curls the ball, quickly gets into the shot. Again, we can see the base a little bit better on this angle. How did we get to the beginning? I think this is the last play. That's why. So reset my loop. Quickly gets into the shot here, out of the base. You can see, wants the ball. Quickly squares up. Feet are both pointed towards the rim. Gets good, like, deep into his legs here. Out of the shot, especially since it's a couple feet beyond the three-point line. This is at, like, an NBA three-point line. Shot looks good. It has great arc. That's automatic. I think overall, I like Lopez's fourth quarter, especially. Obviously, the highlight play out of the pick and roll, the crossover. The defensive awareness wasn't great, though, but the fact that it did get better into the third and fourth quarters while they were getting blown out was good. Like, he's not a negative crosser by any means. If you go to his tape from last year to Angie T, he's been defensively active. I just think today he didn't come with intensity, and I think that's okay. Obviously, you want a guy to come with intensity every day, but the blowout wasn't his fault by any means. Whereas Dash, I think Dash played his role really well. Obviously, had some easy opportunities, being up 30 or whatever. But overall, I thought this was a good game from both of them. Although I came away with more questions about Lopez. I think the fact that the shot looked good, though, is definitely very encouraging. I think that even might outweigh the negatives as far as the defense. If assuming this translates, the fact that he was 2 for 3, 2 for 4, whatever he ended up being, was definitely very encouraging. Let me know if you'd like to see more of these. If so, subscribe to the Substack. I think I'm going to put this up on YouTube as well. So if you're watching that there, be sure to subscribe there. I don't know how often content will be, so turn on notifications. I think this is something I'd like to do when there's these kind of big games between two prospects, kind of highlight the stuff that I like. So once again, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Pod should be coming soon. I want to say we're recording today on the 25th, so it should be out tomorrow on the 26th. So again, thank you so much, and goodbye.